Hello again, everybody out there. This is Charlene and Ty. Hi, Ty.
Hey, what's up, sweetie?
For the Truth About Cancer Global Health News. We're glad you joined us once again, and we have a lot of great information and some not so great to cover.
Yeah, thanks for all of your support. Over the last month, we launched the Truth About Pet Cancer. And so we appreciate all of the feedback that we got from you and all of the people that helped to support the mission by owning the DVDs and just all the questions that were sent in for our question and answer session. So we really appreciate the engagement from the audience, and we hope that it's helped a lot of you out there that are watching to understand what you should and shouldn't feed your pets, and about the flea and tick collars and the vaccines and the chemicals and the pesticides and just all the whole gamut of things that we covered. We hope it's been helpful to you.
Yeah, we sure do. We love our pets, and we know you do as well. And thank you, everyone, for sharing it with your friends. A lot more people have heard about what we're doing thanks to you.
Yeah. And so one of the things I know, if you've got a pet, one of the things that you always do is you give them treats, right? You give them treats to snack on. One of the things that we want to cover today is some kind of guidelines for snacking if you're a person, right? It's like, so what are guidelines for snacking? So we all have food cravings, right? And so especially if you're on some sort of a diet plan or you're changing the way that you eat, food cravings are pretty intense. Charlene never gets cravings for chocolate, ever.
Okay, so that's my main craving, chocolate. I love chocolate. But we do have a recipe that's very healthy that we make here at home, homemade. So there are alternatives to especially GMO. That's one thing we really try to stay away from.
Yeah,
is GMO foods.
Yeah, I got a few guidelines here that I want to go over as far as how to deal with cravings and snacking. So one of the things that I do regularly is intermittent fasting, which means that for about 18 hours during the day, I'm not eating. I usually eat between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Weekends, sometimes I'll go off of it a little bit and eat a little bit later.
And special occasions, birthdays that we've had recently.
Yeah.
April's a big month in our house for birthdays and our family. So yeah, he goes off a little bit, but he's so disciplined. I'm so proud of him. He really just is very strict, and we've seen results. He looks great and he feels great. So
at least I look great to her, and that's all that matters.
He does.
But one of the things you remember when you're talking about snacking is don't deprive yourself of food if you're hungry, unless you're fasting. All right? If you're fasting, like water fasting or juice fasting, and you want to eat something, well, then you shouldn't eat, because then you're going off your fast. But if you're just trying to have a controlled diet and you're hungry for something, don't deprive yourself, because what will happen a lot of times, if you deprive yourself all day long, then you're going to binge at night and eat something that you shouldn't eat, and then you're going to feel guilty about it afterwards because you fell off the wagon. So go ahead and snack, but snack on healthy foods, snack on real foods, snack on whole foods, and limit the quantities. That's really the main thing. And it's one of the things that Charlene mentioned, stay away from the GMOs, stay away from the processed stuff. Try to eat as raw as you possibly can. We went raw a few years ago. Well, actually, about a decade ago, we went raw for about a month.
That was an incredible experience.
It's the only time that we've actually eaten raw for a solid month
period
with no cooked foods. And one of the things that was really amazing was that with a raw diet, you're eating just a ton of raw food.
And we didn't do intermittent fasting at that time either. We just ate raw foods.
Yeah, I mean, we ate pretty much any time we wanted to eat, we ate.
But it was always raw, and I had so many great recipes, and that was when we really started steeping ourselves deeply into health. And it was funny, back then, some of the things that I loved, he didn't love so much, but now he's so disciplined, and it takes time sometimes for your taste buds to really change and to crave that which you're not used to, which is super healthy foods. And Ty now today is far different. He gravitates toward really healthy foods, and growing up, his mom was a great cook, but all of the ingredients weren't super healthy, plant-based, or real foods. I think it was more real foods though when we were kids than it is today. A lot more real food than now. There was a lot of canned stuff that we don't do a lot of now, and a lot of fresh food. So give it some time. Don't give up, and over time you'll crave the good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not even really sure if we've covered what I wanted to cover on this. I just thought it was interesting to talk about snacking, because everybody wants to snack. So don't deprive yourself, but also if you think you're hungry, what I would recommend if you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to control your eating, if you think you're hungry and you want to snack, drink a glass of water first and wait 15 minutes.
That's a great idea.
A lot of times you're not really hungry, you're thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
And so be sure you're hydrated, because a lot of times being dehydrated will you'll actually think you're hungry when you're actually dehydrated. So drink plenty of water, hydrate yourself, and then if you're going to snack moderate amounts. Don't deprive yourself, but eat whole foods. Okay.
And I have to add just real quick, when you do snack and you feel like I really need something tasty, before you get into your new eating regimen, I highly recommend changing your pantry, your refrigerator, the things that are in there. Prepare, equip yourself for these snacks. So take away the snacks that will ruin your diet and put some snacks in there, raw food snacks, homemade chocolate snacks that are made with nutritious sweeteners, maybe stevia, or the raw honey is highly effective for your health and your overall well-being. There's so many beneficial things in that, but if you get just sugar or GMO sugar, that's going to tear down your health quick, and it feeds cancer. So you want to be prepared. Put the snacks that you know you're going to need to keep you going. I in the beginning, when we did the all raw thing, I made some carob balls, which were kind of like chocolate balls. And one thing I'm going to leave with you here is I learned when I first made them, they were not good at all, and I was so disappointed. But the reason that they were not good is I was using toasted carob. When I discovered raw carob, oh wow, that tastes so much like chocolate, but it's just a little different, but it's very delicious. So that's one thing you could remember, chocolate lovers, and I am a big chocolate fan. Raw carob is delicious.
Yeah, and that's a great point, honey. Make sure that you have stuff that's readily available to eat. If you're trying to eat healthy, and you've got, let's say you just got a refrigerator full of fruits and vegetables, and you're really hungry and you want a snack, and then you have a whole bunch of junk that's in the pantry, you're probably going to go for the stuff that you can get to quicker.
I would get rid of that.
Get rid of that, but not only get rid of that,
replace it.
Get stuff cut up and ready, like in Tupperware containers or whatever in your refrigerator, so you can go grab it and eat it. That's what I try to do.
And
like
for me,
when I'll do a big salad or whatever, I'll cut up a big salad and I'll have it for days in a big bowl, and it'll already be ready to eat. So when I'm hungry, just go grab a big salad, pour my olive oil dressing and vinegar and all that I put on it. Maybe cut up a fresh avocado into it, but the base is already ready, so I don't have to do a lot of work to eat it. So that's
yes. And for me, all roads lead back to chocolate. So beside your salad snack, you want to have maybe raw carob balls, handy dandy, made with dates and different things like that don't have just pure sugar, but they're a little bit sweet. A raw chocolate, something that there's a lot of recipes you can find. In fact, we're working on my recipe book. He's helping, of course, and hopefully we'll have some great standby recipes for you in that book as well.
Yeah. So here's I wanted to go over some of the top cancer-fighting foods. I think this is just kind of good to refresh ourselves on. Make sure that you're including these in your daily dietary regimen. So number one, leafy green cruciferous vegetables. So spinach, kale, broccoli. Anytime I make a salad, I put that in there.
Be careful with the overabundance of kale. Very good for you, but it could upset your tummy if you eat a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
When you're not used to it.
It's cabbage as well, Brussels sprouts as well. They're also
delicious.
really great for you. Onions and garlic, can't get enough of those. Just don't do too much because the onions are hot, garlic's really spicy.
And just a real quick piece of advice for the garlic. I like when I'm doing a juice fast or adding a lot of extra juice, and we did this on a full body cleanse and I just loved it, so I kept it up through the years, getting a little bit of orange juice, which is pretty sweet as you know, but I like to put cloves of garlic in there with cut ginger, fresh ginger, mix it up, and that is such a powerhouse of health, and it's delicious to me. I think that's a really good drink, and it's one great way to get raw garlic and ginger into your diet, which are super healthy.
It is. It's an awesome way to do it. I like to cut up onions in the salad. I also, even though now I'm ketogenic, I'll eat at least one clove of garlic fresh a day. I just chew it up and swallow it. It's terrible, but it's good for you.
He's a strong man. He could do anything.
I do the same with turmeric. I'll take a little cut off of a small part of a root of turmeric and just eat it, just to make sure that I get it ingested. Another great food that you need to eat on a daily basis, fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi. I have at least, even ketogenic, I do at least one big spoonful of sauerkraut every day. Kefir, miso, tempeh, those are some organic fermented soys.
Yes,
really
organic
good for you
is key. Soy fermented it releases those estrogen inhibitors, so it becomes a really healthy food. But if it's not organic, it is probably GMO, so be sure that's organic.
Yeah. Another great cancer-fighting foods are orange or yellow fruits or vegetables, right? So the peppers, the carrots, the light-colored peppers, not the bell peppers that are orange, red, yellow, and
they're
then
tasty
carrots.
too.
Great for you. And even like now I'm still doing ketogenic, I'll make an omelet. I will cut up some red pepper, some yellow pepper, and put it in the omelet, just a little.
And he makes the most delicious omelets. He's such a great chef. We like experiencing. He'll just get in there and make recipes. I don't know how he does it, but he's great.
I'm good at about 3 or 4 things. Berries are great. Blueberries, strawberries, as long as they're organic. Blackberries. I don't eat a lot of those now because I'm doing ketogenic diet, but they're awesome. You know, a handful isn't going to hurt you if you're doing ketogenic, but awesome cancer-fighting properties and awesome health-promoting properties in the berries. Herbs and spices, like I just mentioned, turmeric, ginger, great to eat on a regular basis. Healthy fats, that's one thing I get plenty of. Lots of coconut oil. I do at least 2 or 3 huge heaping tablespoons full of coconut oil every day. I just put it in my mouth and let it dissolve and swallow it. So get plenty of oil. I eat a lot of avocado, a lot of eggs for the healthy fats. Great for you. Butter, raw butter from organic butter is great for you as well. Red fruits and vegetables, I guess that could have been combined with yellow fruits and vegetables, specifically the peppers. So eat those on a regular basis. Nuts and seeds. I'm eating a ton of nuts and seeds lately, especially sprouted seeds, and then nuts like I do a lot of pecans, a lot of almonds, not as much cashews because they're higher carbohydrate count.
But they're so delicious.
But they are delicious, but you'll get out of ketosis if you eat too much cashews. So green tea is another thing. I don't drink much green tea. I should be drinking more green tea, I have to admit.
Organic.
But green tea is awesome with the EGCG in it, which fights cancer. And then mushrooms, which I don't eat a lot of mushrooms because of the ketogenic diet, but I do take our 7N Plus mushroom supplement every day.
That's fantastic.
So fantastic for you. So that's just some great cancer-fighting foods that you should be including, hopefully on a regular basis in there.
You know, I have to add one thing. When Ty and I first got married, we were not aware of most of this, and we thought we were eating healthy, but we ate a lot of fat-free things, which today we realize equates to margarine or plastic.
Yeah.
One more molecule, it would be plastic. And we thought that fats were bad. We thought that butter was bad and olive oil was bad. But of course, we know today that it's very healthy. So coconut oil is not something we would have opted for in the past, but today we found out so many healthy reasons for that, that you could actually fight fat with fat. That's not what we learned growing up,
Yeah.
but we understand to be the case today.
Yeah. Eating fat won't make you fat if it's the right kind of fats. Now Atkins was incorrect about the quality of the fat. So Atkins said just eat whatever, any kind of fats on the Atkins diet. That's not what we're talking about. It's healthy fats. You need to make sure that they're healthy fats. He didn't understand trans fats and a lot of the different hydrogenated oils like we do today. But he was on the right track. He started out. And if you did it right, the Atkins diet actually could help you lose a lot of weight. It just wasn't paying as much attention to the fats, and it was a lot higher protein. Whereas with the ketogenic diet, it's higher fats, medium protein. Even though lately, I must admit, I've been eating more protein than fat, and I've got to work on that because I've been eating a lot of protein lately. And it just kind of comes with sometimes you get so busy, you get what you have available, and I haven't had as much of the fats as I should have because I've been so busy. So I've got to make that a priority. I'm confessing to you that I need to do that.
I like your transparency. It gives me hope.
All right, Toxic Home Summit cleaning tips. So Charlene and I were recently interviewed for the Toxic Home Summit, and just wanted to share with you a couple of really easy do-it-yourself recipes to keep your home clean without the toxicity. So number one is a homemade bleach alternative. Bleach is not good, right? There's a lot of different reasons you don't want to use bleach. Now, if you want to get some, a stain out of a shirt or whatever, you might think that you need to use bleach. You can actually use milk, believe it or not. If you let milk sit on a shirt for a half an hour, it's got like an ink stain or whatever, milk will take it out. But there's certain instances where you might feel you need to use bleach. I guess that's okay. But a great alternative is hydrogen peroxide, water, and essential oils. They'll take out stains very much the same way that bleach will. Mm-hmm. So that's one good alternative. And then a great natural furniture polish. We thought you'd like to hear this. Instead of using one of the name brands on your furniture that can be very toxic, use olive oil, white vinegar, and a few drops of lemon essential oil, orange essential oil, and a little bit of lemon juice. You mix all that together. You let it coagulate. It gets a little bit thick. And then you can put it on your wiper and then wipe it on your furniture. Really natural, really healthy substitute for furniture cleaner. So,
I have a funny story. When we first got married. I'm telling these funny stories from when we didn't know much then, at least about this stuff. But he bought me a nice leather couch, which I just loved, and so I tried to take care of it. And the arm was getting a little bit dirty, and so of all things, I took a conventional glass cleaner that I know today is very toxic and sprayed on there, and I still have that part of the leather that is nearly ruined. It just shriveled up, and it messed it up. So from that point on, I would wipe it if it needed wiped, just with water and a cloth, and it would come clean. But that part of the leather is a reminder of the toxicity in these conventional products to me.
Yeah,
today.
a lot of them are very toxic. A lot of them are. And actually, kind of a good rule of thumb is you can usually substitute essential oils for a lot of these cleaning agents, especially the citrus essential oils like the lemon.
And they smell so nice.
The lime, the orange, the grapefruit, because they've got the D-limonene, which is a great. Not only it not only smells great, but D-limonene is a great natural insect repellent too. So if you have a problem that you're usually getting bit by mosquitoes while you're sitting on your couch,
oh my!
No, just keep teasing. Not a common problem. Just trying to be funny here.
Lavender's nice for that.
Lavender's great too.
Yes.
So the essential oils are awesome. Here's something interesting, and I just threw this in because we're always trying to keep our house clean. But when we're traveling, I travel all the time. You go into the airport, and you know those new hand dryers that they have. You know, you put your hands in and blows them dry real quick. And they used to have the kinds you push up here. There's a new study that's showing that they have between 20 and 60 times the amount of fecal material in them, which is poop, basically,
Ew.
than just the normal air that's in the bathroom. And here's why. So I wasn't aware of this phenomenon, but they call it toilet plume, apparently. So when you're in a public bathroom and you defecate, right, you go number 2, you poop, and you flush the toilet with an open lid. Apparently that creates what's called toilet plume, and it actually, and I've been in bathrooms where it like flushes so hard it almost sprays you.
Oh.
That basically takes the fecal material and it creates airborne particulates that then when you're using these hand dryers, it sucks air through the hand dryer to blow air, and it pulls that into it, and then it starts to create colonies of bacteria within the hand dryer. It's pretty disgusting. I will not be using those anymore to dry my hands.
Well, here's what I do, honey, and I taught our girls to do the same. When we go into the bathroom, there's so many germs there, of course, as you know. So we try not to touch anything. Even the flusher, all those things, we cover our hands with a paper towel or something, and not touching anything. And when we come out, we don't even use their water because we know the water is toxic, and the soap is toxic, and now that's toxic. So we take a special organic cleanser that you spray onto your hands. So we just spray that and wash, and we're good to go. And we've never had a problem.
Okay. I don't go quite that far. I definitely use the soap and the water and rinse thoroughly after going to the bathroom. But I don't usually have that with me, so I'm not. Clean your hands one way or the other. If you don't have it, use the water and use the soap. At least get your hands clean. That's
and
one way.
Shake them dry.
Yeah,
right?
Shake them dry, but don't put them back in there because you're putting the fecal material back on. It reminds me, there's this movie in the 80s. It was called Opportunity Knocks. It was with Dana Carvey, and Dana Carvey is a comedian. For those of you that are our age, you'll remember him. For those of you that are younger, he used to be on Saturday Night Live. He's done several movies, and he was imitating George Bush.
He was good at that too.
George H.W. Bush at the time, and he came in there and he said something like, there was a head of a company they were trying to sell their blow dryers to, and they couldn't convince him. And so
I think I remember that.
Yeah, so he the guy's in the stall, the head of the company's in the stall, and then Dana Carvey comes in, and he brings a bunch of people in with him like they're Secret Service, and he says, paper towels bad, blow dryers good.
Yeah.
Paper towels bad, blow dryers good. And he sounded like President Bush at the time. And then the guy goes and buys a bunch of blow dryers, right? So it reminded me of that. Anyway, by the way, condolences to the Bush family.
Yes.
Barbara Bush recently
We were so sad.
died. So
we were so sad.
Condolences to the
God
Bushes.
bless all of you.
Yeah. But speaking of 80s movies, The Terminator, right? Remember Skynet in The Terminator? Skynet was the computer system that went live and started creating the Terminators that would come back to kill men, right?
So that was in Terminator 2?
That was in Terminator 1. That was the name of the computer system. It was called Skynet. And so China has their own
Oh, yes.
computer system, which they call Skynet now. It's actually a global tracking system, which they're using satellites and facial recognition to track people. It's pretty crazy.
It's like the Minority
Terminator come
Report
alive.
too. Face recognition, it even pulls up information immediately. It's in real time, so
Yeah.
it pulls information. And they've been doing this back 2008 in cabs,
Yeah.
collecting the voice recognition, and now they have the security cameras have this technology evidently, and they are taking information on everybody in real time. And from what I read, they're getting the face recognition on all of their citizens from 16 years and onward.
Well, they can get what's not. Yeah. Well,
That's what they're gathering for this
that's
system
what they're gathering
specifically.
But they've got facial recognition technology now in the special glasses that police are wearing in China now, that they can literally look out across a crowd and scan the crowd, and it will populate.
Kind of like
They can
Iron
tell.
Man's view of things, right?
Pretty well. And they're already using this. There's a company called IntelliFusion that's in China, and one of the biggest problems in China actually is jaywalking, because the streets are so busy, people almost get killed all the time. So jaywalking is a really big offense there. So what they've done now is that using the facial recognition software that they have on these cameras that are everywhere in China, very much like in London, and it's not just communist countries, by the way. London is tens of thousands of cameras everywhere. But they have this technology built in to where if somebody's jaywalking now, they can facial recognize them, and it will put their picture and name up on a huge LED screen at the intersection. So like you're busted immediately in real time. You see your picture up there as a jaywalker. And they're also working with the cell phone companies now to integrate you getting an immediate text and fine on your cell phone if you're busted jaywalking based upon facial recognition technology. Pretty wild.
This technology is really convenient when you need it, but then when you realize what they are capable,
That's a new word.
Yeah.
That's a Bushism. That's a W Bushism. So
what they're capable of and what they're actually doing. And if we know this, what else are they doing? That's my question.
Yeah, and a lot of times, technology starts out as they got great ideas, but then you can always use it for malicious intent. And so, I don't know that I necessarily want to be able to have facial recognition software to recognize me anywhere on the planet at any given time through GPS satellites. Kind of an invasion of privacy to me. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds you of if you read George Orwell's 1984, where he has to get in the corner of a room to be in an area where the cameras can't see him to do anything private. It's almost getting to that point. Speaking of China, I wanted to cover real quick the opioid epidemic and the way that China is playing into some of the deaths that are plaguing the United States, specifically with this opioid epidemic. Who's heard of carfentanil? Well, you might have heard of fentanyl. It's an opioid that is actually way stronger than heroin. It's like, there's a lot of deaths that have been attributed to fentanyl, thousands of deaths. But carfentanil, apparently, I'm going to make sure I get these statistics straight. It's a synthetic opioid. It's 5,000 times more powerful than heroin and 100 times more potent than fentanyl, which is already, as I mentioned, causing lots of deaths here in the United States. Carfentanil is used to tranquilize elephants, and it's deadly to humans at 0.02 milligrams. In other words, like a dust speck of carfentanil will kill you. Mm. The problem is that in China, a lot of the labs that are producing synthetic opioids and then being shipped here in the United States via black market websites and being sold here, they have carfentanil in them. And so that's one of the reasons that deaths have continued to increase, is that a lot of these opioids that are not
through the dark web, they're
through
getting
the dark
them.
web.
A lot of them, they're selling so much, and so it's like Russian roulette. You don't really know what you're getting. And as a history buff, teaching Bryce, our son, is behind the camera. He does such a great job, and he knows a lot about history. Thank you, Bryce, by the way. And Brianna, teaching them through world history. The Chinese people, as a culture, for many years and millennia, would keep the outside world out. They would keep everything out so that they would protect their culture. And I think it was, Bryce, correct me if I'm wrong, it was England that came in with the heroin, the poppy, and they got a lot of the Chinese people addicted to this stuff. And it was a real problem. And the Chinese were working really hard to keep it out, and it kind of snuck in. And it's just unbelievable. Now it's China that is exporting this stuff.
Yeah.
When they were trying to protect their country from it.
Yeah, and it's
full circle.
It's not necessarily intentional at all, but it's just they're working in slave labor camps over there, producing a lot of this stuff, selling it on the dark web. So it's really sad for the Chinese people. But speaking of opioids, last article we want to cover today, I thought this was interesting. It was a CNN article it's entitled "For Doctors, More Opioid Prescriptions Bring More Money," and it
Now,
seems
isn't
like
that a conflict of interest?
it is. It's definitely a conflict of interest. But here's what the video that they had. It was a CNN interview. They interviewed a couple of ladies that had been addicted to opioids, and their doctor had been prescribing them for their pain or whatever. And then they later found out that these doctors, one of them had made over $200,000 in the previous year speaking at opioid conferences.
And I think that one of the doctors made in 2 years $1 million just from those companies, the opioid companies.
Yeah, I mean it's really insane. So it seems it's almost like a moment of duh, right? Well, duh. If you get more money, you're going to prescribe that. But this is a mainstream article now, CNN mainstream interview, that's telling us one of the reasons that these opioids are being prescribed is because the doctors are making money speaking at opioid conferences and so forth. They're making a lot of money.
And there's a graph that shows that who prescribed it the most were the ones that were getting the gigs and making the most money on these speaking gigs with those companies.
And here's a telling quote here. It says, "It smells like doctors are being bribed to sell narcotics, and that's very disturbing." I agree. It is pretty disturbing, especially in light of the fact that we have natural substances that can work really well for pain, like hemp, like cannabis, that we talk about a lot.
And they've been demonized. And I always say that I believe that cannabis is one of the greatest gifts, if not the greatest, of all of the herbs that we have been given by God himself. It's just like a plant that there are so many miracles waiting to happen. We just need to unlock them.
Yeah.
And so we just need to keep sharing the truth with our families and our friends about this amazing plant. On thetruthaboutcancer.com, we've got a lot of information. Go there in the search bar, look for cannabis, hemp. We've got videos and articles. Just do some research and share that stuff with your friends, and share this video with your friends on the social networks.
Yeah. And I was just reading, speaking of cannabis, I was just reading an article. We won't cover it today, but in the next Global Health News episode, we will cover. It was an Australian article. These two daughters, two sisters, their father had used hemp, cannabis, to treat their digestive disorders. I think it was Crohn's disease, but I have to look back at the article. But it has a lot of really positive effects on digestive disorders as well. So it's an amazing
What
plant.
doesn't it heal? That's the question.
Yeah, exactly.
It heals. Every cell in our body has receptors to gobble it up and do good things.
Yep. So we hope you're going to gobble up this show and do good things by spreading it to your friends and your family and sharing it on the social networks and so forth. So really appreciate all of your support. Watching these Global Health News, it's fun for us to get together and talk about stuff and just kind of shoot the bull with you. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And we appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Global Health News. In the meantime, God bless.
Thank you.